Manhattan, world capital of finance. Here, buying and selling takes place every nanosecond. But Manhattan is also the epicenter of the contemporary art market. My name is Thomas. I'm a French writer, and currently I live in New York. I like art. I mean, I really appreciate painting as an art form, but frankly, I know nothing about it. I'm just a spectator, and I'd like to share my discoveries. A century ago, Paris set the pace to the international art world. Today, New York is where our careers are launched. Paris offers only cachet. What caused this shift? Art is timeless. How can this city of short-term profit have so much influence on the world of art? Is it really a good environment for artists? I may not find answers to every question, but I will attempt to understand. The Metropolitan Museum is a temple of art for the United States. It contains works by the great painters. My guide for this trip is a French artist who lives in New York, Clovis Pareiko. He's been painting for 25 years, and he came to the United States to add a new chapter to his life as an artist. The Metropolitan Museum is his favorite place. He regenerates. He notices the composition, the palette, the light. Here, the great masters transmit their knowledge across time. Clovis frequently finds him among the works of Rubens.
Je suis toujours ébahi devant les tableaux de Rubens parce que les compositions sont extraordinaires. Faites une liste de ce qu'il y a dans le tableau et essayez de faire une photo avec les mêmes éléments, c'est absolument impossible. C'est déjà la liste est énorme.
C'est un enseignement en soi-même déjà.
C'est un enseignement en soi-même de la composition.
Ton travail il est quand même très esthétique. On a l'impression que c'est une recherche de beauté. Est-ce que tu dirais ça ?
Ben, vous savez, aujourd'hui, dans le milieu des arts, le mot beauté, c'est un mot tabou. C'est presque un gros mot. Vous n'allez jamais trouver un peintre d'aujourd'hui, un artiste contemporain qui dit « je suis à la recherche de la beauté ». Ça, on peut appliquer ça aux Grecs anciens, on peut appliquer au 19e siècle, mais la démarche aujourd'hui, si quelqu'un dit « ah, je suis à la recherche de la beauté », les gens vont regarder comme si sortait d'un film de science-fiction. On ne dit pas, le mot beauté, c'est un mot presque interdit. Pour moi, c'est physique, c'est un besoin presque d'un exorcisme. Il faut que j'exprime, mais c'est au-delà de l'expression, c'est quelque chose, c'est un truc physique. Je ne sais pas expliquer mieux que ça. J'ai comme une vision du tableau au début, je sais où je vais. Et
tu n'es jamais satisfait ?
Je n'arrive jamais où je voudrais exactement. C'est parce que la vision est toujours plus belle que la matière.
The first day of an exhibition is called an opening. Now, Clovis has been working every day at his studio because his opening is in 2 weeks. This will be his first solo show in New York. I took this opportunity to find answers to my questions. I followed Clovis as he prepared for his show, and I discovered some wonderful people and a hidden world. There are several New Yorks. The official version, Manhattan, easy, bright likes big city. But since the artists were forced out of their Manhattan studios by exorbitant rents, they find themselves in another New York, off the beaten track. They immigrate to Brooklyn, especially to the neighborhood called Bushwick. In this large horizontal landscape, the rooftops are flat and views are unobstructed. Let's cross the East River and investigate the scene in Brooklyn. Bushwick is 15 minutes from Manhattan by train. So close to the hustle and bustle of the city and yet so different. Until recently, this area was relatively unexplored and had a dicey reputation. But some understood the potential of this area, like Jamie Schmitz, an entrepreneur who recently opened a bar and restaurant.
The Germans just came in huge numbers, big immigration, and they built up this neighborhood.
And so it was during the 19th century, the middle of
1890s to early 1900s.
I was about to say the connection with Germany and beer.
American beer, lagers.
Okay.
Lagers that's now an American thing.
Yeah. Do you think that gives a charm to the...
Oh, for sure. Oh, there's a lot of benefits, I think, to reusing old industrial spaces. One, of course, is that especially a lot of the ones around here, since industry is left, they're fairly vacant. They weren't being used. So instead of pushing out the locals to do new things, you're inhabiting spaces that were otherwise unused.
Yes.
Really, the reason it became populated with the new artistic, the new young people and the artisans and craftsmen who are here now, is that you could come into this neighborhood and find a workspace and adapt to live in it. So I think as an artist, if you're working, whether you're painting or you're a sculptor or a metal worker or anything, you could find an affordable place and have this environment to work out of.
Yes, because this is crazy. In Williamsburg, it's done already.
Sure.
It's so expensive now, right?
Well, yeah, that's kind of the story of New York. I think it tends to digest itself. Soho in the 80s.
Exactly, meatpacking Soho, Williamsburg, and maybe soon it's going to be the same. Yeah.
Maybe it'll be Rockaway next, who knows?
Yeah.
Those studios bring a new breath. Here, creation is everywhere. Artists come every day from Manhattan and its surroundings to work in this quiet environment. In 2008, Rafael Alvarez quit his job as a civil engineer to open artist studios. Every day, he is contacted by artists looking for new space.
So we built our first studios, and we started getting different members, everything from fashion designers, web designers, a lot of artists, painters, sculptors, installers, and I started getting a feel for what people liked in studios. So we filled this one up, and then we started our next studio in 2011. And for the first maybe 6 years, it's, in the transition, nobody wants to go there. But you have a lot of artists, and that's usually when we come in early and we start putting the artists in one location, so it's easier for them to be able to communicate, start building community, find friendships. build off of each other's creativity. And we have artists here that have been doing it for years and years because of the passion that they have. So I really respect that. They come in after 8, 10, 12 hours of work and they come here to do their art. You know, and that's absolutely amazing to have that much passion that you say, you know what, I don't need sleep. You know, I'm going to go to work, you know, go to the studio, do something, and, you know, it's inspiring to see that.
This place attracts my curiosity. I want to meet other artists to understand how to survive and show their work. Louis Martin is totally passionate about art. He paints, he recycles, he collages in a modern way, by computer.
If Picasso was alive today, would he be using Photoshop? Would he be using Illustrator? Yes, he would. What would he be doing? He'd be making tons of amazing things and he'd be making money. So why not me, right? Yeah. So I take pictures of myself, I take pictures of people, I collect pictures and I collage them. And it's almost like composing a song or a melody. So making things disappear and reappear. It's called sentando cabeza, which means to settle your head. And in Spanish, it's an idiom or a saying that people say to people who don't have a job. They say, you know, settle down, find a normal job, start being an adult. Yeah. So this was kind of like my declaration of independence, saying, I am an artist. I'm not going to settle my head because, you know, this is what I have to do.
Louis is very involved in his art, but he helps other artists to become known by organizing collective exhibitions, developing a sense of community and online promotion. A few doors down, Paris Salka is working in her studio. She doesn't chase after success. During the day, she works for a restaurant, but she spends the rest of her time in Bushwick developing her technique.
And do you use some, because there is a straight...
Yeah, so I just prop the paper up. I'll just put whatever I can grab sort of underneath the page, and it'll lift the page up on one side and all the water will kind of flow, you know, down. And then with this sort of very graphic area, this is actually just evaporated over a few days, about 3 days. I just let it sit and do its thing. I have this little ritual where I don't come to the studio while it's drying. But this, it's like, you can kind of project whatever you want onto it and see whatever you want. I mean, that's...
Recently, Paris' works were shown in the Buildings Gallery. Louis was her curator and principal supporter.
I think we're conditioned as artists, fine artists, to think that we have to work and work and work, and someday someone's going to knock on the door and say, I've discovered you. And you know, and now we're going to go to the gallery and we're going to sell your paintings for millions of dollars. And while that might happen, and it has happened and it will happen, but it's very few and far apart. So I'm not going to wait for that. I'm going to make it happen. And if I can bring other people with me and help them make it happen, then I will. And that then becomes an ecological system that supports each other. From good or from bad, it's still a way to support what people are doing. But I think Bushwick is in such a small, it's its infancy at the moment. And right now everyone is mixed. And everyone's kind of rubbing up against each other and meeting each other. And at some point, naturally, they're going to grow up and they're going to start segregating and like, oh, you know, the abstract's here, the gay's here, you know, the whatever there, and that's okay. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, but it's about making these connections now that will grow into something more deep.
Why does art still exist? Because it seems everything has been done. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, sure. I feel that way too. You know, when you get in a rut and you're like, what am I doing? You know, is this important? Like, does anybody think this is important? You know, and how do you know? You know, until you get a little feedback from someone, and it's like, okay, you know, at least someone sees it. You know, but is art? I think art is still important because people, they need that. They need that escape. They need. It's one of those. I don't know. For me, it's just one of those things that, like, thank God, we as humans can do something like this, you know.
Clovis is part of this community and would not change it for the world.
Et je pense que Bushwick, c'est pour New York ce que Montmartre était pour Paris au début du XXe siècle. C'est là où vivent tous les artistes, c'est assez intéressant, c'est assez dynamique. Et ça fait penser à cette époque de Paris où il y avait Picasso, Braque, compagnie à Montmartre.
For his exhibition, Clovis decided to show monochromes. His work is influenced by classic art, but with a modern approach. He paints areas of the body. According to him, it is just a pretext to draw reliefs, shadows and curves. The mouth, the jaw, the nose become a landscape. Clovis uses the complex layering technique of the Flemish primitives. He starts with a grisaille and a succession of glazes. He is able to achieve colors that are unusually dense and deep.
Alors Clovis, tu me dis que tu travailles selon la technique des primitifs flamands.
Adapté à nos jours évidemment, parce que déjà même tous les matériaux ne sont pas les mêmes, c'est une adaptation. Le fait c'est que je travaille d'abord sur une grisaille, c'est-à-dire des valeurs de gris que j'ai mis là sur la palette.
C'est-à-dire c'est plusieurs tonalités de gris.
Tonalités de gris.
Ça va du blanc au noir.
Ah oui, voilà, il y a une petite échelle de gris. Et je fais le tableau d'abord en gris. Et après, je vais rajouter la couleur par couche transparente, comme faisaient les primitifs flamands.
Creating large-scale monochromatic paintings requires extensive research about colors as well as time and space. For Clovis, his experience in Bushwick is liberating. I get the feeling that in Manhattan, he would be constrained by a more expensive and smaller space. He would have to paint smaller canvases and sell them. A natural question occurs to me. Manhattan has hundreds of galleries in Chelsea. Do they reflect the diversity of art?
Ben, c'est une très bonne question parce qu'on pourrait faire une petite généralisation. On est entre amis, on va généraliser un petit peu. Alors si on imagine, il y a eu pendant 2-3 siècles le salon, le grand salon d'art qui a commencé au temps de Louis XIV quand même. Et c'était l'art officiel au sens très lié au pouvoir, parce que c'est l'académie qui décidait qui allait passer. C'était plutôt les académiciens qui rentraient dans l'académie qui allaient exposer au salon. Et pour avoir une existence d'artiste, il fallait passer par le salon. Et aujourd'hui, qui a le pouvoir? Qui nous gouverne? C'est l'argent. Et l'argent s'est infiltré tellement dans ce marché, et les galeries de Chelsea, parce qu'à Chelsea, il y a 300 galeries quand même, plus de 300. C'est un truc énorme. Et si vous voulez vous promener là-bas, vous allez voir, c'est comme au salon à peu près, parce que les jours de vernissage, il y a je ne sais pas combien qui sont ouvertes, qui montrent leurs artistes. Et c'est très monotone. Les gens essayent de rentrer dans ce marché et d'être validés par ces galeries. Parce que ces galeries-là, aujourd'hui, font office du salon, quand même.
Donc rien n'a changé, alors c'est ça
non, si on généralise bien, non. La différence, c'est qu'aujourd'hui, on a Bushwick, on a ces artistes qui émergent comme ça, comme il n'y a pas de marché pour eux, ils s'en foutent quand même, ils continuent à travailler, ils montrent leur travail autrement. Alors,
Donc on nous a raconté que l'art était plus démocratique maintenant, mais c'est faux alors.
L'art est démocratique, mais le marché n'est pas démocratique. C'est la différence, c'est ça.
So we leave Bushwick. Its old factories, its humble architecture. Let's return to Manhattan. First stop, Chelsea. The neighborhood of major galleries is located downtown. At the Chelsea Hotel, artists used to trade their work for accommodations. Times have changed. Chelsea has become an exclusive domain for chic galleries. I tried to meet with galleries' representatives. I made appointments, but they were cancelled. The world of the galleries is hard to penetrate, and doesn't represent the inclusive nature of New York. I had this opportunity to meet with a friend who shares with me her passion for the city. She shows me something more than the lights and grandiosity, and something more than cliquish snobism. Andre Carl Morgan has shown me the diversity of New York. I meet with her because she can enlighten me. She is an art director and currently she works for Time magazine. Since she deals with artists, she might tell me more about the art milieu in New York.
Good, perfect. Isn't it too frustrating to not be able to give work to everybody because there is no, you have a few room in the magazine, right?
Oh yes, you know, I love, if I could do
more.
Nothing but, you know, commission illustration, buy art all day long. There are so many amazing, wonderful people and the talent is there. It's just,
yeah. That's amazing because in New York we find art everywhere,
right,
and artists everywhere.
Yes. And there's just an abundance, an overabundance, an embarrassment of riches when it comes to that kind of thing. So many talented people.
You know, it's amazing because since we talk about art, especially in New York, we talk about money.
Oh, exactly.
That's connected.
Right.
Like,
yes, it's not at all.
It's almost impossible to avoid the subject of money in this city of business, luxury and technology, dancing to the incessant pace of profit. For Andre, the worsening of the French economic situation will force the museums to rely on private funds, just as American museums have already done.
They're showing Toulouse-Lautrec. They have Toulouse-Lautrec.
all right. Let's see that. After you.
Maybe it's my French tendency to idealize art, but in New York, business is business. Regretfully, Andre analyzes the situation of the art market.
It's very much like, for example, the real estate market, I believe. Here in New York, you see some of these buildings that surround us here are actually, these are apartments that go for millions and, you know, up to $90 million for an apartment over there.
That's incredible.
Yet it stays empty most of the year. I think I read that 30% of the apartments in this area are empty most of the year. Mm-hmm. And these apartments exist only as a reason for very wealthy people to park their money. As inequality grows and the people who are rich are much richer, richer and richer than ever, and they have billions of dollars, not mere millions. They have to find more places to put it. And you know, it's these two, art and financial interests, come together. And what does that do to the art? So I think it can't be a good thing for artists or for the art market.
No.
Here, we see one of the tallest residential towers facing Central Park. The penthouse was sold for $80 million. The owner ironically baptized it the Mona Lisa of the apartments. The record real estate deals echo the record art sales. Jeffkoons is one of the most higher-priced living artists. His works routinely sell for tens of millions. I wonder what these extremes reveal about our time. At the Whitney Museum, the Jeffkoons retrospective was a success. His work is shiny and colorful. I have the feeling that the public comes to be a part of the event and to see themselves reflected in the shininess. People take selfies in front of the works and can even buy the Jeffkoons plate, the Jeffkoons calendar, or a small reproduction of a Jeffkoons piece. I am a mini rich person, I own a mini Koons. If the private sector gives more and more support to the museum, in what way is the same private sector influencing the direction of a museum and our rapport with the art?
Pour moi, le musée, c'est un endroit très important parce qu'il garde l'art, il le sauvegarde, l'art de façon générale. L'art reste assez accessible à tout le monde, mais c'est en même temps un truc assez moderne, le musée, parce qu'il date d'il y a 200 et quelques années. C'est juste après la Révolution française. Et aujourd'hui, on aurait du mal à imaginer un monde sans musée. Toutes les villes grandes et importantes, elles ont des grands musées et qui sont des endroits de grande visitation et tout. Et je pense souvent au nom. Musée veut dire la maison des muses. Et les muses sont nos inspiratrices. Et je pense que l'endroit sert à nous inspirer aussi. Et je regrette beaucoup qu'aujourd'hui les gens visitent les musées comme on feuillette un magazine à la salle d'attente d'un dentiste.
Oui, ils font presque plus attention un peu à ce
qu'ils voilà, ils passent comme ça, ils zappent, parce qu'on vit dans ce perpétuel zapping de tout, et ils ne regardent même pas le tableau. J'ai vu plusieurs fois des gens qui prenaient des photos des tableaux qu'ils ne regardaient même pas.
Philippe de Montebello était l'ancien directeur du Metropolitan Museum et il disait que les musées ont totalement perdu pied avec le monde de l'art, avec le marché de l'art.
Oui, M. de Montebello dit qu'aujourd'hui, les musées ne sont plus dans le jeu pour acheter des nouveaux tableaux, des nouvelles acquisitions, pas que des tableaux, mais parce que le marché de l'art est devenu tellement inaccessible, tellement cher, que même les musées ne peuvent plus acheter une nouvelle chose. C'est toujours les extrêmement riches, c'est toujours qui vont acheter ce qui est dommage dans le sens où c'est les œuvres qui vont dans des collections privées, on ne les verra plus jamais. Et tandis que sur un musée a un tableau, on pourra toujours le voir. Hein. C'est ça le grand dommage de ce marché d'art qui est devenu complètement chaotique. Mais peut-être que, comme dit M. Montebello, le temps des musées est passé. C'est une chose très intéressante, la relation qu'on a par rapport à l'argent et l'art, parce que c'est un thème qui est un peu tabou, parce qu'on imagine l'art en quelque chose de sacré, quelque chose qui ne doit pas toucher à la matérialité. Aujourd'hui, on n'imagine pas quelle était la valeur de la chapelle Sixtine. On ne sait pas combien Vinci a demandé pour la Gioconda, qui n'a jamais été payé parce qu'il n'a jamais rendu ce tableau. Mais il y a une histoire qui est très curieuse. Par exemple, à la Renaissance, la famille Médicis était des grands commandateurs des arts et des grands mécènes, etc. Ils ont financé beaucoup Botticelli, qui a peint un tableau qui s'appelle l'Adoration des mages, qui est à Florence. Et ce tableau est très intéressant parce qu'il a représenté toute la famille Médicis sur ce tableau, et lui avec. Et ça, c'est très intéressant parce qu'il donne une idée de le pouvoir et l'argent peuvent tout acheter, même nous mettre à côté de Jésus, Joseph et Marie et les rois mages.
Money allows everything, and the museum must concede to its power. The museum becomes a place which can wave the magic wand and transform anything into art. So money ends up discrediting the museum and the art that it represents.
C'est un très dangereux double tranchant parce que, par exemple, une statue de Rodin qu'on trouve sur un parking, c'est toujours une statue de Rodin. Une pile de briques qu'on trouve sur un parking, c'est une pile de briques. Mais si tu mets cette pile de briques dans un musée, ça devient une œuvre d'art.
Je me souviens que le critique, justement, Robert Hughes, avait mentionné ça.
Il mentionne cette pile de briques, que c'est une pile de briques connue, que je pense qu'elle est à Londres, dans la Tate Gallery. C'est vrai que c'est assez étonnant, parce que c'est l'espace du musée qui va sacraliser.
Mais en réalité, c'est l'art qui sacralise, puisque l'espace du musée représente...
L'art, oui, voilà, c'est ça. Il y a une sorte de relation vaso-communicante avec l'art et le musée, etc. L'art est le témoin de notre temps et dans tous les excès de notre temps aussi. Je pense par exemple, il y a en ce moment une grande rétrospective Jeffkoons.
Ah oui, nous sommes allés avec André, oui.
Et Jeffkoons, c'est le témoin de notre temps en quelque sorte, parce qu'il est dans tous les excès. Ses œuvres, elles valent des fortunes, mais c'est jamais vu. Récemment, il a vendu un de ses dog balloons pour 58 millions de dollars, c'est une chose pour un artiste vivant jamais vue auparavant. Et moi, j'ai une impression, mais c'est que ça ne concerne que moi, c'est que ces genres de rétrospectives, par le passé, étaient destinés aux artistes morts, déjà. On faisait des rétrospectives. Déjà, rétrospective, c'est pour parler de toute une vie d'un artiste. Et là, on fait une rétrospective d'un homme qui est vivant et encore jeune. C'est-à-dire que j'ai l'impression, moi, que peut-être qu'il est déjà mort, au sens, il est mort pour l'art. Son art, elle représente les excès du XXe siècle. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes au XXIe siècle. Peut-être que Jeffkoons ne représente plus notre siècle. Il va dans la direction de tous les excès qu'on a fait dans les années 60, 70, du pop art, etc. Même là, quand il vend de l'expo ici, il disait c'est le dernier des pop. Il est peut-être déjà mort et on ne s'est pas rendu compte. Il appartient déjà au passé. Mais ça témoigne, son travail est extraordinaire dans le sens que ça montre dans quelle société nous vivons aujourd'hui.
In spite of this, being an artist in New York without the support of billionaires or major international galleries is perfectly possible. Other ways exist. Raymond Verdaguer has lived in New York for 30 years. He doesn't reject the galleries, but according to him, running after the approval of the galleries makes no sense. He paints and engraves. Of course, he takes advantage of the internet, but his work is also shown in other ways. His apartment is also his studio. Among his brushes, his press and tools, I discover illustrations that he has made for magazines or newspapers such as Le Monde or the New York Times. For an artist, the print media is a way to reach a public. Raymond loves his freedom, and his concept of art conflicts with American pragmatism.
Par exemple, aux États-Unis, si tu as par exemple un texte qui te vient d'un magazine ou d'un journal, c'est vraiment de se tenir très près du texte. Par contre, en France, bon, par exemple avec Le Monde ou des journaux comme ça, oui, il y a beaucoup plus de flexibilité. Il n'y a pas du tout la même, on te demande pas de suivre. Si tu regardes plus ou moins les magazines ou les journaux, c'est très décoratif, quoi. Tu vois, en général, c'est évocateur de plus ou moins de ce qu'on m'a parlé. On parle d'automobile, on parle d'immobilier, on parle de toutes sortes de bêtises. Et il faut quelque chose pour meubler. Et il y a toujours ces...
Raymond engraves different media, wood, linoleum. He enjoys engraving because he's first of all an artisan.
Il y a ce côté artisanal aussi que je trouvais très important. J'ai retrouvé en Italie. Que l'artiste et l'artisan, c'est très 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 proche. Et actuellement, l'artiste, bon, c'est plus besoin d'être un artisan. Tu vois. Il peut prendre des choses sur le net et puis les bidouiller, les transformer avec des programmes. Et ça aussi, c'est vraiment... Mais vouloir séparer...
Toi-même, pendant longtemps, tu as un peu laissé tomber les galeries. Est-ce que tu...
Ah oui, alors le système de galerie. C'est-à-dire qu'une façon assez naïve, je me suis un peu dirigé dans cet univers un peu bizarre de ce qu'on appelle l'illustration, parce que je pensais que c'était une façon beaucoup plus honnête ou beaucoup plus directe de dialoguer avec le public. Et aussi de ne pas rentrer dans ce système de vente et de valeur. Une chose qui m'avait vraiment complètement sidéré au début quand je suis arrivé, quelqu'un m'avait dit combien tu vaux. Et je me dis comment je vaux. Il m'a dit moi je vaux $75 de l'heure. Ah bon. Ça m'avait vraiment surpris. Ça voulait dire que s'il devait me consacrer du temps pour quoi que ce soit, il fallait que je sois disposé à lui payer $75 de l'heure parce que c'était ça que son temps valait.
Ramon is clear about the art market. For him, buying contemporary art is not only a way to invest money, but also a way to easily create money.
Les marchands je crois, depuis le surréalisme, ont trouvé un truc merveilleux parce qu'ils peuvent vendre ce qu'ils veulent. Parce qu'il s'agit de raconter une histoire, que ça c'est pour ça et à cause de ça et pas à cause de ça. Et les gens qui n'ont aucune sensibilité, aucune notion de l'art, mais qui ont le pouvoir d'acheter, vont acheter et vont investir et vont dire bon ben ça on le prend parce qu'après ça va être plus, c'est dans tel musée, c'est dans telle collection, et tout ça c'est toute une manipulation. Exactement, comment tu peux dire qu'ici ça coûte tant le mètre carré et qu'un peu plus haut là, à demi-heure, ça coûte 10 fois plus. Ouais. C'est le même terrain, c'est le même endroit.
C'est le même air qu'on
respire. C'est le même air, c'est la même pollution. Un peu moins à côté de Central Park, certainement. Ouais. Mais quand même, tu vois.
And beyond investing in art, the works become a way to launder money or conceal fortunes.
L'avantage d'une œuvre d'art, c'est que tu peux souvent la mettre dans une petite valise et ça peut voyager et ça peut traverser des frontières. Et donc tu peux avoir 1 million comme ça qui peut se voyager. Tu peux acheter cash peut-être 1 million ou 2 millions, quelque chose comme ça. Tu vois. Une fois j'ai été chez un collectionneur et je regardais sur le mur, c'est dans la salle à manger et je vois 2 peintures et je me dis mon Dieu ça ressemble à du Gauguin. Et on me dit, oui, effectivement, c'est des Gauguins. Des Gauguins qui n'ont jamais été vus, jamais exposés, jamais dans un musée, jamais dans un catalogue. Il faut avoir, disons, cette opportunité d'aller par accident dans cet appartement pour voir ces 2 œuvres.
Jane Holsinger is American. She is Clovis' studio neighbor. Her paintings are frequently shown in the galleries. The work is like Jane herself, humble and delicate. She has kept her freshness despite the reality of the art market. For her, putting a price on art seems totally abstract, but that's a question artists must face.
I went to the New York Studio School, which is, for 3 years, which were the abstract expressionists. Like we still had the first generation around to learn from, and they were telling me, don't look at money, you know, do your work. The schools began to put out people, and whatever came through that program, I'm sure, you know, prepared students for going out into the market.
Making money obeys mathematical rules that seem incompatible with making art. When an artist begins a work, does he think how much money he could make with it?
You don't know what the applications are. You don't know before you start.
Of course.
You do not know before you start. It's the nature of creation. You know, you gotta get in the process and do it. Before there's a payoff. So
I wonder how the young artists react when faced with the state of the art market. Jane teaches a course at Montclair State University in New Jersey. I'd like to ask some questions to Jane's students. I am immediately surprised by the American methods of teaching. The respect is mutual, the atmosphere is relaxed. Jane doesn't idealize art and let the students express themselves. They learn without realizing it. They generously give me their point of view, no complexes. They are comfortable answering questions.
Genre of drawing called photorealism.
I think it's mostly the person behind the art rather than sometimes just the medium being used.
Like a drawing on a piece of paper or something, like all these new innovations, like a cell phone, that's a work of art because somebody created it. And
I'm eager to know their opinion about the major galleries.
Are you here because you want to sell your stuff as much as possible in those kind of galleries, or do you care about it?
I mean, there's different ways to like get your work out there. Like people turn to art magazines, they turn to galleries, they turn to like websites, like especially websites. That's like now, since that's like a big thing nowadays, you're gonna put it out there. So I think galleries are something that's a bit more formal and old-fashioned, but at the same time very useful.
Mm-hmm. Also, thanks to the fact that through technology we have these different ways to capture, like whether we're taking a photograph of an oil painting or actually making a digital painting.
To my great surprise, these students don't care about this system. The internet has obviously changed the rules, the new technologies and the globalization as well. They gave us more freedom. There is a consequence of being outside the system. Everyone creates his own network, his own system. When I consider the art market with the investment-minded patrons and dealers that are out to make a buck, I understand the street art and the motivations of those artists. In Bushwick, this movement flourishes on the walls, the benches, the lampposts. I meet the artist Elamanopi, who has chosen this solution for the total freedom that street art gives.
When I've been an activist my whole life, I was involved in the anti-nuclear movement, the anti-capitalism. Also, I'm an environmentalist. I made a piece about Gaza. It's in the doorway of the street.
Okay.
Another kid. I like to show the world through the lens of a child. Like how are they experiencing our world? Yeah. How is what we are doing affecting them in their future?
There are so many, there is no end. It seems that's always a struggle to...
Yeah, once you fight one,
yes.
And another head, it's like Medusa with many heads.
Yes, exactly.
Up, you're like, no, and then you're like, ah!
No.
Like, oh, no, over there. Like,
yes, I know,
so
yeah.
And the irony is that the people at the heads of those corporations, they're going to suffer too. Capitalism is the problem.
You used to be displayed, to be shown on galleries.
Yeah, I was doing that scene, and I just got really disillusioned with it because I want my art to belong to the public. I don't want it to be privatized. I want it to be just available for kids, little kids, people that aren't exposed to art necessarily usually. You know, for everybody, just
of course
see.
Yeah.
And maybe every day they see it and it gets to them. Yeah. Like they have a conversation with it daily. I want to disassociate art from money. Of course, I like to get paid for my work because art is labor.
Yes, and
art is labor, and a lot of people don't understand that art is actually labor. They think, oh, you're having fun, you're enjoying it. Oh, just do it for free. But artists need to eat. Artists need a house. Artists, you know, all of the stuff that goes along with living. You know, so I want to disassociate my art from the commodification that happens in galleries, but at the same time, you know, it has value. You know, my labor has value. So.
The Freedom Tower replaces the Twin Towers. What freedom are we talking about? The liberty to create our own system? The liberty to chase the absurd? Has the world changed since 9/11? What can we expect from an art created for the purpose of investment? What do we want to transmit to future generations? If every artist creates his own system, must he abandon the ability to influence official art, to change the course of events, or give meaning back to the system itself? Jane was on her roof at the time when the towers collapsed. She took a picture and then made a painting.
Jane, tell me, what did you decide to paint this photograph?
I actually wanted to document the event. It was very difficult for me to paint after that. This was what I chose as an image, and it is my husband, and I kind of felt like he stood in as a witness. Rather than a direct view, I stepped back. Maybe these changes in the art world itself is more like we've got to talk now. Maybe that's why the art forms are getting more expedient. Maybe. But as we all said, painting is the slow art, and it also, we need the craft, we need the chance to meditate on what it is we are viewing. It is a lot deeper than a photograph. So I do hope that we continue to enjoy our arts, you know, and that it remains vital, and I don't think that you can take it away. I mean, it's just a vital thing.
Especially, I think last week the Fed announcement, last week was sort of underreported, where the Fed said we're going to hold rates low because we think the economy is so bad. The bond market took that as gospel, rallied about 15 basis points. The stock market didn't believe it, and we're sort of drifting higher. So we need something to make us move.
I invite the artist to a picnic, an occasion to share opinions. Every year in Bushwick, artists have a unique opportunity to present their work to the public. They call it open studios. All weekend, the studios are open.
You told me, Jane, that the open studios stressed you, right?
Just leading up to.
Exactly like you had a show in a gallery, or that the same feeling?
Just things to do. Definitely getting word out and selecting work. It is a little bit like curating your work, yeah, I think also just contacting your list, whatever it is, make sure that it happens. So, and I had things to finish. So, yeah, not quite the same stress level as a gallery, believe me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And Martin, what do you think about that?
But it's really, really fun too, because it's the perfect opportunity for the community and everybody else to kind of come in. It almost feels like a circus, a little bit like a zoo. You know, everyone's really excited, and they're going to see us in our natural habitat.
Et je crois que le public a envie de voir le processus de la création, comment ça fonctionne.
Oui, definitely. Yeah.
C'était dans la tradition d'aller dans l'atelier de l'artiste.
Mais je pense que jamais dans cette dimension-là, parce que pour moi c'était une grande surprise de voir, on a eu, je sais pas, 2000 personnes qui viennent au cours des 2 journées, Et c'est une expérience extraordinaire. Et ici, à Bushwick, tu peux être artiste, tu ouvres ton atelier et les gens viennent voir ton travail. Tu n'as pas besoin d'une galerie pour être validé, disons. Et même tu peux vendre, parce que moi j'ai vendu des tableaux presque à mon insu. Les gens ont voulu acheter et je n'étais même pas prêt à vendre les tableaux.
Ouais, mais parce que c'est tellement beau.
Non, mais c'est étonnant. J'étais peut-être encore resté sur cette histoire dans ma tête. Ah oui, non, il faudra que je décroche une galerie. Aucune galerie me décroche, je ne sais pas. Ouais. Et finalement, on n'a aucun besoin vraiment de ça. C'est extraordinaire dans ce esprit de communauté. C'est facile.
Qu'est-ce qu'on attend pour être heureux? Qu'est-ce qu'on attend pour faire la fête? La route est prête, le ciel est bleu. Il y a des chansons dans le piano à queue. Il y a de l'espoir dans tous les yeux et des sourires dans chaque...
When you have overhead, you can't really afford to take risks, and therefore you have very safe, stable of artists. And from what I understand right now, not a lot of Chelsea galleries are looking for new artists. So
it's always been the policy that the galleries never look for.
Yeah, I know, just to keep the door closed.
Yeah, of course. And Modigliani, Modigliani, died of tuberculosis and his girlfriend jumped through the window when he saw him dead. And then you see these paintings worth millions in Fifth Avenue. How do you explain that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally, for me, completely crazy.
Yes, it is.
Now
you're talking about the market, not the galleries. I think.
You find an empty space, you paint it white, you don't
the
buy,
white tube
you don't buy anything, you say bring it to me, and maybe I sell it.
Yeah.
What kind of business is that? Every other business you have to buy it, you have to store it. Here you say, okay, I take it, maybe I sell it, and goodbye. And if you don't want it, you'll come and get it tomorrow. And it's just a lot of blah, blah, blah.
You have a very low opinion of dealers.
I have a terrible opinion. Ça, je crois, c'est un mauvais influence.
Tout à fait.
It's okay to make money, you know what I mean? And
if the artists get, to united and, respect, okay, what Clovis does and what I do completely different. But, if I respect Clovis because he's an artist and he's struggling on the same matter than I do, it's just the fact that he's my fellow, person on the same trade. And so as a result, I feel I have to support him. And maybe he could feel he might support me. The gallery system is works on the divide and conquer.
You're the flavor of the month because now I'm focusing on you and I'm moving on the next month. Yeah.
Also galleries, they start small galleries in Bushwick now.
Oh yes, right.
It's very funny. They try to put
it's cheaper in real estate.
A foot here because they know we are in the edge of.
We're in vogue right now.
Here we go. This is the evening of Clovis opening. The die is cast. Will the public be intrigued, or will they simply observe the beauty of the paintings? Before the curtain rises, I need to assess the situation. The conclusion could be bitter faced with an enormous system that divides more than it unites. However, after having spent time with these artists, wherever they are from, whatever age, whether 20 or 70, I must admit that everyone, in their own way, has made me more alive and more optimistic as well. From the bottom of his soul, everyone gives their best to the collective. Artists invite future generations to a common table that is neither monetarized nor part of an institution. If the coldness of a system based on money frightens us, the artists are here to color our hearts, our spirits, to remind us of the essential. Artists transcend the cold, hard truth of mathematical equation. They do not fit into convenient categories. They enlighten our consciences. They are a voice that reaches each of us to different degrees, a voice without impenetrable speeches, with neither a career nor a marketing plan. They communicate by beauty. They communicate by talent. They open doors on our secret selves.
L'art nous guérit de tout, de toutes les dépressions, de toutes les maladies. Ouais. Oui, absolument. L'exercice de l'art peut nous guérir. D'ailleurs, c'est la seule chose qui reste à la fin. Les civilisations passent, l'art reste. On ne sait rien vraiment de comment c'était la vie en Égypte, par exemple, quelle était la technologie, on fait des suppositions, etc. Mais l'art égyptien est toujours là. Il existe, il parle à travers le temps et tout. On ne sait pas comment les gens vivaient vraiment à la Renaissance, ou comment ils mangeaient, ou qu'ils faisaient, ou la technologie qu'ils employaient, ou qu'aujourd'hui est complètement dépassée. Mais les tableaux sont là, les sculptures sont là, c'est magnifique. Les enfants vont faire des petites empreintes de leurs mains, imprégnées, c'est un truc extraordinaire. Comme l'homme a fait ça au début dans les grottes, on va trouver des empreintes de mains et c'est merveilleux parce que c'est moi, c'est ma petite main qu'elle a.
Clovis' opening is a success. His career starts in New York. The success is even sweeter since it exists outside official circles. Art is stronger than systems. If I had any doubts, it's because when I began this journey, on one side I saw a void, on the other side I felt blind and deaf. Now I know we will never abandon our need to give or this necessity to elevate ourselves.